he's a great representative. We haven't talked to him in a little bit. We wanted to discuss the shutdown with him as it stands today and what we can expect. Obviously, the House of Representatives has already done their job. We're waiting on the Senate to do theirs. He is Representative Scott DesJarlais, and he joins us back on the Matt Murphy Radio Show. Scott, good afternoon. Welcome.
Welcome. Well, definitely I'm bald-headed. I don't know about fluffy, but I can try.
Well, I mean, I take fluffy as a compliment. I used to be worse than fluffy, but one way or the other, I don't think you're fluffy at all, Scott. I think you're a good man, and I think you're doing great work up in the House of Representatives. And obviously, the House has done their job. Give us a sense of where we are on this shutdown. Votes happening tomorrow in the Senate, I understand.
Yeah, they're going to vote again. I don't really get what the stalemate's all about. I mean, I know that the Democrats think they're winning with this health care issue, but what's ironic about it was, this was their thing. They put this in the Inflation Reduction Act as a temporary measure set to expire in 2025. They knew in 2022 that they could extend it if they wanted to, but I talked to Brett Guthrie, who's from Kentucky, chair of the Energy and Commerce, and he said they had all intentions in using that money when it expired for some of their other priorities, Green New Deal, whatever, you name it. And so now they're just taking advantage of the moment and saying that Republicans want to double everyone's health care. And I don't know, has your health care gone down in the last 4 years, either one of you?
Nope.
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 You're like mine's doubled. And,
nope.
And everyone I talk to, their health care has doubled. And so the people who are getting these subsidies or tax breaks, and I'm grateful that they were able to get them, but they knew that it was a temporary measure and they were set to expire, and now they're going to go back to paying what they were. We're not like doubling people's health insurance. I wish I could go back to where mine was, and you probably do too. But, that's what they're hanging their hat on right now, is they think they're winning this messaging because, people think that Republicans don't care about health care. And Obamacare had a flaw from the very get-go. There was about 6% that were above the below and below the upper, to borrow a Jody Messina line, and they couldn't get cheap health insurance, and so we've still been needing to have a fix for that. But this is a whole different ball game, and so people are going to go back to paying what their premiums were, and there's like student loans were suspended during COVID, and you just had to pay interest only, and afterwards you had to go back to paying it. So I think it's a losing issue for them, but they're going to continue to drag it out because for some reason they think trying to add a bunch of spending in this CR is somehow a winner for them, but they seem content with dragging it out for now.
And I want to delve into a few of the particulars that you just mentioned, but, it compels me to ask, what's your assessment of how long, the Republicans are holding together, and I'm thankful for that. I do not believe that it's their closure. It's not their shutdown. The Republicans would like to get back to the work of passing individual budgets, 12 separate appropriation bills. That's what I was told the big, beautiful bill would get us to. One of the reasons, and I was not a fan of the BBB because I didn't believe it cut enough, but I am a fan of yours, and I'm a fan of the other Republicans up there, Scott, that told me to a man or a woman, hey, this is just the beginning of what we're trying to do. We're trying to get back to regular appropriations. We're trying to get back to cutting, in a way that's going to see a true reduction in the amount of debt. I know that the Republicans are trying to do that. With that in mind, are y'all hanging together, and do you believe that this group will hold the line when it comes to Democratic demands?
Oh, I think we absolutely will. There's a few that are, Marjorie Taylor Greene is saying, come on, the GOP is holding us up. So there's a few people breaking a little bit, but no, I think we're on the right side of this issue. As you said, this goes till November 20th, and I don't like continuing resolutions, but it was a clean CR, something the Democrats passed either 11 or 13 times under Biden. Same thing. They wanted us to vote for it, and it makes no sense that we're still stuck in the mud on this. But I have a little bit of issue with these non-essential employees. And I get that there are some people who work as contractors, say, for Arnold Air Force Base and whatnot, that could be part of this RIF or cut. But I don't have any non-essential employees in my office. I didn't have them in my medical office. I doubt at the radio station you have non-essential employees that you're paying just out of the goodness of your heart. So if there's a lot of dead wood that's in Washington, and we know there probably is, this gives Trump an opportunity to clean some of that out, and that'll cut cost and create savings. And then we got to remember that it's hard to cut spending until you increase revenue, and that's Trump's whole plan, is to bring manufacturing back, to get people back to work, and generate more tax revenue, and make America what it once was, a nation of exporters, not just importers and spenders. And so you got to give his plan a chance. And so, yeah, we did a CR till November 20th. We're going to go through the same fight. We could be negotiating some of this healthcare stuff with the Democrats right now if they would come to the table. But right now, everyone just got their backs to each other. And I think, we still spend money even in a shutdown. There's 85% of the government is on autopilot. It's mandatory spending. So even when the government's shut down, we're still going into debt, which is a shame. And, these people that are furloughed, that are non-essential, will get paid for doing nothing. And so it's frustrating that we have a shutdown at all. They never seem to do anything other than just cost money and put us further back than we were.
Is it possible that the CR gets pushed back from the November 20th deadline, considering the amount of time that it's taking us to get to the CR? Does that make sense?
Without question, because, the appropriators are still working on appropriation bills, and, I'm still working on defense issues. We're still working on Golden Dome. We're still doing things. But as far as legislating, right now, with the Senate being obstinate, anything we pass out of the House, if we stick together as Republicans and pass a bill out of the House, they still can't get 60 votes in the Senate for it. So as far as us not passing any bills right now, unless it's under reconciliation where we only need 50 votes, it's probably not going to be anything meaningful. So as long as we continue to do our work and negotiate, not being in session is not the worst thing in the world. Trump can do a lot of things under executive orders. He's had a hell of a day today, and I'm sure we're going to talk about that in a minute too. Mm-hmm. But yeah, the shutdown right now, we have a call with the Speaker tomorrow morning at 10. I guess he's going to lay out the strategy, but the Republicans are holding tight. We're on the right side of this issue, and in the end, the Democrats are going to have to admit that their little healthcare ploy or whatever it is, their spending ploy, was wrong, and they're going to have to, just come out of this closet or a blind alley. You're old enough to watch Animal House, where they led the band into the blind alley,
right?
And that's kind of where they're at right now.
All is well.
They're in the blind alley, and they're going to have to come out.
Right. Be calm. All is well. Yeah, no, I remember it. So, for me, two things. One follow up, and then I want to share one message from a listener and get your thoughts. The issue on healthcare. That issue is an expiration at the end of the year, right? It has nothing to do with the continuing resolution. Am I right?
No, it's sunset. This was Biden's deal. This was the Democrats' deal. They
right.
put it in the Inflation Reduction Act. I don't know why they did 5 years, why they picked it. But after COVID was over, the Democrats were still in power, had
right.
all three chambers. They could have extended it. They could have made it permanent, but they had no intention of doing so. That I think if you left it in place, it's going to cost almost like $400 billion over 10 years. Well, they wanted to take that money and shift it into some of their other priorities. So had they not decided to glom onto this as their messaging point, they already had plans for that money. They didn't think Trump would be back in the White House, and so they didn't worry about it. And they had no intentions of extending these tax breaks that were put in place during COVID to help people out during a rough time. It was set to expire. They knew it was set to expire, and they didn't do anything about it.
Well, and the rest of it, and Congressman Scott DesJarlais is our guest, the rest of it, Scott, to me, is the Democrat Party holding the American people hostage against the results of the 2024 election. Because if I look at the big, beautiful bill as a direct result of the 2024 election, most of their demands have to do with what was passed in the BBB. They want to return funding to the Corporation for Public Broadcasting and these sorts of things.
Right. There's $1.5 trillion that they're wanting to claw back from the big, beautiful bill at things that, when they were in power, they were spending that money. When we took over, we clawed that back because we didn't think we needed to have NPR and PBS as another mouthpiece for the Democratic Party. I mean, it was proven NPR had 87 employees that were all Democrats, and they had to admit it, and they were embarrassed about it, and so on and so forth. We know the story. But, yeah, they're trying to reinstate what we took away in terms of cutting spending, and that's just not the way it works. I mean, I'm sure that's what they want, but that's not what they're going to get.
One thought from you to comment on two texts that I've received regarding this conversation, and then I do want to move on to the Middle East peace accord. One, 1586, I don't have a name, just a number, says, our house has seen real impact from the shutdown. Military salary has stopped completely. we're getting to panic level. We have to really stretch just to get gas and groceries, let alone bills that don't stop. And then 2565 says, I don't miss the government being closed. However, I would like for my active duty son to get paid in 2 days. What's your response to those two texts?
Well, my active duty son, who's in Miramar learning to fly C-130s, he's a Marine pilot. He'd like to get paid as well, and you know, not to make it personal, but I get it. And Trump has arranged for money that is in the Department of Defense to pay the troops on the 15th. That's when their next paycheck's due. So they're going to get paid on the 15th. Now, if we stretch to the 30th, another payday, we'll have to come up with another fix. We can pass a bill, and we probably will if we have to make sure that we pay our military during a shutdown. I think we did that in 2013. And so there's bills just waiting to be passed to do that. But for this next pay period on the 15th, the troops will get their pay. We've got money lined up to do that, and totally understand. It's one of those things when you're living paycheck to paycheck, and we underpay a lot of our military. They need that money, and they're going to get it on the 15th, and we'll find a way to make sure they get it on the 30th.
Scott DesJarlais is our guest, joining us on the Murphy Show hotline to not only discuss the shutdown, but also this incredible peace accord that has now been signed by the president and all the parties present there in Egypt. Scott, your thoughts?
Well, I'm telling you, that's what peace through strength looks like. That's what swagger looks like. If you watched any of that with Trump today, the other leaders, I think they invited 35 countries, and they all showed up. It's I've never seen anything like it. And any of them that were sitting there with Trump, they were just like giddy and in awe of the guy. And what he did with the bombing raid on Iran was such a psychological strike. What he's done to degrade and eliminate Iran's proxies in terms of Hamas or Hezbollah or the Houthis. When Bibi or Netanyahu got out of line and bombed Qatar, he said, hey, you got to get on the phone and apologize. That was wrong. And, I mean, he's leading. He's not just leading America. He's leading the world, and they're following. And what I saw today was nothing short of remarkable. I mean, that's a boss move. That's Trump being Trump. And I mean, the people are falling in line to make this happen. And whether it'll last, the Middle East has been fickle and at war off and on forever, as long as you and I can remember and throughout history. But this feels different. This has a different feel. Hamas has been degraded to the point that I don't think they can really exist anymore. Iran doesn't have any juice. They got bombed into oblivion by Israel, and then we took out whether we obliterated their nuclear program or not, we showed them that we can do it. We showed China and Russia we can do it. It was an incredible mission, and I know they took note. So I'm just so impressed with what he did. And I think I can count on one finger at the time the liberal media has praised Trump, and all day long they can't help. MSNBC, CNN, they're saying good things about Trump. Ilhan Omar, I mean, you name it. They're praising Trump for what he's done, so it truly is remarkable.
Well, I mean, and the worst thing, and we've had a couple of listeners say this, Scott, I think the worst thing that you could say is, well, I don't think that this will hold. But even if you suggest that, and I understand the tenuous nature of it, and I understand, there's some faith-based beliefs that there will always be conflict in the Middle East. I get all of that, too. And my response to those few callers that we've had today that have suggested that has been the same, and that is, well, we have peace today. That's all I can tell you is that we don't have people dying today, and we have the hostages back home, which is something.
Yeah, it was remarkable to see the hostages reunited. I've talked to several of the hostages that were held not as long that had been released. I mean, what a horrendous ordeal to go through. But, I mean, who doesn't want peace? We see a world at war in so many places, and everyone has financial issues. And so just to have the momentum moving in the right direction and so many countries engaged and involved and seeming willing to make this work, at least, we're moving the ball in the right direction. Whether it lasts forever or not, I mean, hard to say. The world's never been at peace forever, but right now, it's looking pretty good, and we need to set our sights on doing the same thing in Ukraine and Russia, and maybe this will help be a stepping stone to settling that down. But for now, the Abraham Accords and what he laid the groundwork for back in his first term and what he's been able to do in this term. I mean, if there was ever a Nobel Peace Prize candidate, it would be Trump. But Obama got one for nothing, and Obama didn't even know. You go, what did I do to get this? What Trump has done today, if that doesn't deserve a Nobel Peace Prize, I don't know what does. But
and did you see the one that they gave out? And I understand that this might have come a little too late, but when it came, the one that won, the lady in Venezuela, actually dedicated it to Trump. Which was pretty,
I saw that.
Pretty incredible.
And so people, some people can't stand Trump, and some people walk through a brick wall for Trump, but you can't just deny that he's a strong leader, and he does believe in the peace through strength. He does believe in America first. What he's done on the border is just absolutely incredible. What he did to destroy ISIS in the first few months of his first term was really remarkable, and people always want to pick him apart and criticize him, but he's done some remarkable things as president. And I think historians will look back at him as a very powerful and productive president. And let's hope that his financial plan and his tariffs and all that work out, and we start to see a reversal in the debt structure and that we generate more revenue. But we elected him with this mandate because we knew the country was on the brink under Biden. Everyone felt bad. The military couldn't recruit. We looked weak on the world stage. And now all of a sudden everything looks positive and optimistic, and I hope this leads us into another 4 or 8 years of conservative leadership that can actually continue what he started. And today, I think, is something that people are going to remember if it holds and if it goes the way we all want it to. I think the country has a real chance based on things that happened today and what he's trying to do.
Great stuff, as always, from Congressman Scott DesJarlais. Scott, have a great day, have a great week, and take care. We'll talk to you again soon.
All right, thank you, Matt.
All right.